August 9, 1974, Richard Nixon resigns, marking a historic moment in American politics. The United States faces a crisis, both politically and socially. The nation is in turmoil, grappling with the aftermath of Watergate and the ongoing disillusionment from the Vietnam War. Into this void steps Gerald Ford, a man who never sought the presidency, yet finds himself thrust into the highest office in the land. He becomes the 38th president, inheriting a nation wounded by scandal and war. The challenges before him are immense and multifaceted. Can Ford restore faith in the presidency? Can he bring back the trust that has been eroded? Can he heal a divided nation torn apart by political and social strife? His every action will be scrutinized, every decision analyzed under the microscope of public opinion. Ford, a former congressman and vice president, is known for his integrity and straightforwardness. He is a steady hand in a time of turmoil, a figure of stability when the country needs it most. Yet he faces a daunting task. The Cold War simmers with tensions between the U.S. and the USSR at a critical point. The Middle East is a powder keg with conflicts threatening global stability. The world watches, wondering what direction America will take under Ford's leadership. Will he steer the nation towards peace and stability? Ford promises to be a healer, a unifier, someone who can bridge the divides and bring people together. He pledges to uphold the Constitution and restore trust in government, a promise that resonates deeply with the American people. But the shadow of Watergate is long, and its impact on the nation's psyche is profound. And the decisions he makes, particularly in foreign policy, will shape America's place in the world for decades to come, influencing global dynamics and future generations. Welcome to Enchanting Lore, where we dive deep into the fascinating stories of history. I bet you didn't know that 1 month into his presidency, Ford makes a decision that will define his legacy. He pardons Richard Nixon. It is a controversial move, one that sparks outrage and accusations of a backroom deal. Ford believes it is necessary to move the nation forward. He argues that a protracted trial would further divide America. The pardon comes at a cost. Ford's approval ratings plummet. He is accused of betraying the public trust. But Ford stands by his decision. He believes it is an act of national healing. The pardon is a turning point in Ford's presidency. It overshadows his other accomplishments. It fuels distrust in his administration. The question lingers: did Ford choose unity at the expense of justice? The Cold War dominates the global stage. Ford inherits Nixon's policy of détente, a cautious easing of tensions with the Soviet Union and China. He believes in the importance of dialogue and diplomacy. He sees the dangers of nuclear confrontation. In 1975, Ford attends the Helsinki Conference. He signs the Helsinki Accords, a landmark agreement on human rights and European security. The accords are controversial. Critics argue that they legitimize Soviet control over Eastern Europe. Ford believes that the Helsinki Accords are a step towards peace. He argues that they will promote human rights behind the Iron Curtain. But the debate over Helsinki highlights the complexities of the Cold War. There are no easy answers, only difficult choices. April 1975, Saigon falls. The Vietnam War, a conflict that has divided America for years, comes to a chaotic and tumultuous end. For President Gerald Ford, it is both a personal and political tragedy, a moment that will define his time in office. He had long supported the war effort as a congressman, believing in the cause and the need to stop the spread of communism. Now, he must oversee the frantic evacuation of American personnel and Vietnamese allies, a task fraught with danger and uncertainty. The images of the evacuation are searing and unforgettable. Helicopters lifting off from rooftops, desperate crowds clamoring for escape, a city in chaos. The fall of Saigon becomes a powerful symbol of American defeat and the limits of its military and political power. Ford is heavily criticized for his handling of the evacuation, with many questioning his decisions and leadership. Some argue passionately that he could have done more to save the Vietnamese allies who had supported the U.S. effort. The fall of Saigon casts a long, dark shadow over Ford's presidency, affecting his legacy and the nation's morale. It underscores the profound costs of American interventionism, both in human lives and national pride. And it raises profound and lasting questions about America's role in the world, prompting a deep reflection on U.S. foreign policy and its future direction. Turbulent waters, the Mayaguez Incident, May 1975. The Cold War heats up in Southeast Asia. Cambodia's Khmer Rouge regime seizes an American merchant ship, the Mayaguez, in the Gulf of Thailand. Ford faces a crisis. He must respond decisively to assert American power. But he also wants to avoid another Vietnam. Ford orders a military operation to retake the ship and rescue its crew. The operation is a success. The Mayaguez is freed, but there are American casualties. And the incident raises tensions with Cambodia and Vietnam. The Mayaguez incident is a defining moment in Ford's presidency. It shows his willingness to use force to protect American interests, but it also highlights the volatility of Southeast Asia in the wake of the Vietnam War. A Mediterranean crisis, Cyprus, 1974. July 1974. A coup d'etat rocks the island nation of Cyprus. Backed by Greece's military junta, the coup overthrows the Cypriot government. Turkey, fearing for the safety of Turkish Cypriots, launches an invasion. The island is divided. The crisis threatens to draw NATO allies Greece and Turkey into war. Ford faces a delicate diplomatic challenge. He wants to maintain good relations with both Greece and Turkey. He works tirelessly to find a peaceful solution. He urges restraint on both sides. Ford's efforts help to prevent a wider conflict. But the Cyprus crisis leaves a legacy of division and mistrust. It also underscores the complexities of Cold War alliances where national interests often clash. The Yom Kippur War and its aftermath, October 1973. War erupts in the Middle East. Egypt and Syria launch a surprise attack on Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, is drawn into the conflict. Ford authorizes a massive airlift of military supplies to Israel. The Yom Kippur War has a profound impact on Ford's foreign policy. The Arab oil embargo, imposed in retaliation for American support of Israel, leads to an energy crisis in the United States. Ford works to mediate a peace agreement between Israel and its Arab neighbors. He sees the need for a lasting settlement in the Middle East, but the road to peace is long and arduous. Cold War shadows Angola and Indonesia, East Timor. The Cold War casts a long shadow over the developing world. In Angola, a former Portuguese colony, civil war breaks out after independence. The Soviet Union and Cuba back the MPLA while the United States supports the FNLA and UNITA. The Angolan Civil War becomes a proxy conflict between the superpowers. In East Timor, another former Portuguese colony, Indonesia invades after a leftist government comes to power. The United States, fearing the spread of communism in Southeast Asia, provides tacit support for Indonesia's actions. Ford's policies in Angola and East Timor are controversial. Critics accuse him of supporting authoritarian regimes and undermining human rights. The conflicts in Angola and East Timor illustrate the moral complexities of the Cold War. A domestic backdrop. Ford's foreign policy is inextricably linked to the domestic challenges he faces at home. The Watergate scandal has severely eroded public trust in the government. The economy is in a tailspin, plagued by rampant inflation and high unemployment. Americans are weary and disillusioned by foreign entanglements after Vietnam. Ford's efforts to combat inflation and stimulate the economy are met with mixed success and skepticism. His Whip Inflation Now campaign, while well-intentioned, is widely mocked and ridiculed. His domestic difficulties significantly limit his ability to exert American leadership abroad. Gerald Ford leaves office in January 1977 after losing a close election to Jimmy Carter. The election was a hard-fought battle, reflecting the deep divisions and challenges facing the nation at the time. His presidency is brief and often overshadowed by the tumultuous events of the 1970s. The era was marked by economic struggles, social upheaval, and a general sense of uncertainty. But Ford's leadership during this critical period in American history should not be underestimated. He took on the role with a steady hand, aiming to bring stability and calm to a nation in turmoil. Ford's foreign policy is marked by a commitment to détente, a willingness to use force when necessary, and a pragmatic approach to diplomacy. He sought to ease tensions with the Soviet Union while maintaining a strong defense posture. He faces immense challenges. the final stages of the Vietnam War, the Cold War rivalry with the Soviet Union, crises in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Each of these issues required careful navigation and decisive action. History's judgment of Gerald Ford is still being written. Scholars and historians continue to debate the impact and significance of his decisions and policies. He is remembered as a decent man who restored integrity to the White House after the Watergate scandal. His efforts to heal the nation and move past the scandal were crucial in regaining public trust. But his legacy is also debated, particularly his pardon of Richard Nixon and his handling of the Fall of Saigon. These actions sparked controversy and remain points of contention among historians and the public alike. Despite the controversies, Gerald Ford's presidency remains a pivotal chapter in American history. His tenure is a testament to the complexities and challenges of leading a nation through difficult times. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Gerald Ford's presidency, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on Ford's legacy, and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover next. Your support helps us bring more insightful content to you. Thank you for watching.